All right, let's talk about something huge. Today, we are diving into one single word, just one, that can literally build an empire or, well, bring a company crashing to its knees. And that word is quality.
I mean, have you ever bought something, you're excited about it, and it just lets you down at the absolute worst possible moment? Of course you have. We've all been there, right? That feeling of pure frustration when a product you trusted, that you spent your hard-earned money on, just fails. It's not just annoying, is it? It feels like a broken promise. So the big question is, why does this keep happening?
Okay, let's imagine this for a second. You buy a brand new rain jacket. You're feeling good, you're prepared, and then the first time it actually rains, you get completely soaked. Ugh. I mean, you'd be furious, right? You'd be marching right back to that store or firing off an angry email. And you know what? That company, the one that made that jacket, they just failed a massive test.
And the answer to that why, it all comes down to one single powerful concept: quality. And listen, this isn't just some corporate buzzword they throw around in meetings. No way. It is the absolute foundation of every single successful business out there. So today, we're going to break down exactly what that means and, more importantly, how companies actually make it happen.
So first things first, let's really dig into what happens when quality fails. Because when you strip it all away, poor quality is just that, a promise broken.
So what is quality, really? The simplest definition is probably the most important one. It has nothing to do with being fancy or super expensive. It's simply about a product being fit for purpose and, this is the key part, meeting your expectations as a customer. And that little distinction, that reframes the whole idea, doesn't it? A quality product doesn't have to be an excellent product in some grand sense. It just needs to be one that does exactly what you expected it to do, especially for the price you paid for it. This is a perfect example. Look at these two. On one hand, you've got a Ferrari. What's its promise? Insane speed, luxury, turning heads, right? Then you've got this, a Citroën Ami 1. Its promise? To be a super cheap, super simple way to get around the city. Now here's the kicker. If they both deliver on those very different promises, then guess what? They are both quality products. It's all about meeting different expectations.
And for a business, getting this right is a total game changer. I mean, think about it. You deliver on that quality promise, and suddenly you're establishing a strong brand image. You're building an army of loyal customers. Your sales start to climb, you attract new people, and on top of all that, you're spending way less time and money dealing with complaints and sending out replacements. It's a massive win-win.
Okay, so we know what quality is and why it matters. But how do companies actually pull it off? Well, it turns out there are two main schools of thought here. Two very different philosophies for making sure that rain jacket actually keeps you dry. All right, method number one. Let's call this one the gatekeeper. The official term is quality control, and it's pretty much what it sounds like. It's all about inspection. So the way quality control works is you have these specialist inspectors, these gatekeepers, who check the finished product right at the end of the production line. And hey, there's some good things about that. These specialists get really good at spotting faults, which means fewer duds make it out the door to you. But, and this is a big but, there are some major downsides. For one, hiring on those specialists is expensive. More importantly, it doesn't fix why the mistakes are happening in the first place. It just catches them. And that means you end up with a huge pile of products that have to be scrapped or reworked, which costs a ton of money. It's a completely reactive approach, waiting for the problem to happen and then trying to catch it. Okay, so that's the gatekeeper. Now let's look at method number two, which is a totally different way of thinking. We can call this one the architect, and its real name is quality assurance. This isn't about checking things at the end. Oh no, this is about designing quality into the entire system from the very, very beginning. Yeah, the philosophy's a 180-degree turn. With quality assurance, the idea is to set super high standards for every single step of the process. The raw materials, the machinery, the employee training, everything. The goal isn't to catch mistakes, it's to make it basically impossible to produce a faulty item in the first place. And when it works, the benefits are awesome. You basically eliminate waste, your rework costs plummet, and you get far fewer customer complaints. But it is a massive commitment. You have to train every single employee on these standards. Production could get held up if just one little thing isn't right at an early stage. And the whole system really depends on having a super motivated and committed team. So yeah, it's proactive, but boy is it demanding.
Okay, so let's put these two head-to-head. It really clears things up. Quality control? That's reactive. It finds the defects after they're made. It's the job of a handful of inspectors.
Quality assurance, that's proactive. It tries to prevent defects from ever even happening, and it's the job of every single employee. See? Two completely different mindsets, both aiming for the same goal. So there you have it, the gatekeeper versus the architect. The big question is, how on earth does a business choose which way to go? And that really is the million-dollar question for anyone running a company. Do you invest in an army of gatekeepers at the end of the line, or do you invest in building this deep culture of quality right from the very beginning? Well, it turns out the answer isn't so simple. It depends on a few really important factors. So a business has to sit down and really think about these 4 things. First, just the raw cost of each method. Second, what kind of product are we making, and how important is safety? I mean, there's a world of difference between making fireworks and making, I don't know, flip-flops. Third, what do our customers expect? Are they paying a premium price for a premium product? And finally, what's the cost of failure? You know, scrapping a faulty product that costs 10 cents to make is one thing. Scrapping one that costs $10,000, that's a whole different ballgame. And this example just brings it all home perfectly. Think about Rolls-Royce, making these incredibly complex aircraft engines. For them, there is literally no choice. Safety isn't just important, it's paramount. Customer expectations are sky high, and the cost of a single, tiny fault, it's catastrophic, it's unthinkable. So of course they use quality assurance. They have to. They check every single component at every single stage of the build, because the idea of finding a defect at the very end is simply not an option.
All right, let's wrap this all up. What's the final verdict on quality? You know, when you boil it all down, it comes to this. It doesn't really matter if a company chooses the gatekeeper method, quality control, or the architect method, quality assurance. The ultimate goals are exactly the same: to build a fantastic reputation, to create die-hard brand loyalty, and most importantly, to have happy customers who trust the things they buy from you.
Because in the end, that's what this whole thing is about, right? It's not just some dry business process, it's a promise. It's a promise from a company directly to you, the customer, that the thing you just spent your money on is going to do what it's supposed to do. And that promise, that's the absolute bedrock of trust, reputation, and everything else.
Which leaves us with one last kind of fascinating question to chew on. We've just gone through the 2 big methods that businesses use to try and achieve quality. But when it's all said and done, who really gets to define what quality even means? Is it the company making the product, or is it you?